What up, peoples? This is your boy WADI with episode number 6 of this series that you see. And strap on, hold on, get your popcorn, cause my alias, Two-Buck Chuck, is in the house. And right now is Wadi Talks. So right now we're gonna get into the earlier this year shootings that happened on citizens by ICE, as you all know, and the victims were Keith Porter and Renee Good. So let's get into it. Keith Porter was killed by an off-duty agent this past New Year's Eve. The victim was 43 years old and a father of two. He was standing outside of his apartment complex and was shooting in the air, as is New Year's Eve custom, according to LA and federal officials. LA residents are demanding the arrest of the ICE agent who shot the victim, who was shooting his gun in the air. The ICE agent claimed self-defense, even though he was off duty, and approached the man while he was in front of his own complex. There is no footage of the incident, and the ICE agent claimed that it was self-defense against an active shooter. So there's no footage of the incident as mentioned, and Porter's crime warrants an arrest or citation by LAPD, who should have been called. Black Lives Matter got involved, demanded the shooter's identity to be revealed and justice served. The killer's name is Brian Palacios. Porter's daughters are 10 and 20. There's a lack of evidence that Porter fired a shot at Palacios. Protests arise. Agents blocked by stranger. Wait, hold on. I gotta get this down. Agents blocked by bystanders from attempting to provide medical aid. So they provided the bystanders who wanted to provide medical aid for Porter, but they didn't allow it. Porter had a great relationship with his mother, Franciola Armstrong. So that is story number 1. Sorry, I got stuck on that word. But it was bystanders. The bystanders were trying to help, and ICE wouldn't allow them to help. So Renee Good, a 37-year-old woman, was killed by Immigration and Custom Enforcement's ICE, one of their agents. She was a mother of 3, and she was killed in the driver's seat of her Honda Pilot. So we're going to go over what happened, and it's going to be a time-by-time basis. So Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, ICE vehicle was stuck in the snow. Protesters stopped ICE from leaving. Community members were keeping watch. Students were being dropped off at Richard E. Green Central Park Elementary School. Flip that page. So at 9:35:05, Renee Good's Honda Pilot is stopped diagonally on Portland Avenue. At least 3 masked federal agents approach the vehicle at 9:36:51. Renee Good's girlfriend questions the agent. The woman and the agent were recording each other on their cell phones. The agent moves to the passenger side of the vehicle. The vehicle moved to the front, then moved to the front of the vehicle. At 9:36:58, a Ford Explorer passes in front of the Honda Pilot. Two other officers pulled up and unmasked, unmarked Nissan Titan pickup truck with flashing red and blue lights. They stopped in the middle of the street. At 9:37:08, the officers in the Nissan Titan approached the Honda Pilot, ordering Good to get out of the car. While they approached the vehicle, the Honda Pilot went in reverse. One of the officers tried to open the door. The vehicle backed up while the officer had his hand on the door. The officer behind the vehicle stepped in front of the vehicle on the driver's side. The pilot drove forward with the officer in front of the vehicle. Good turned her vehicle and the wheel away from the officer. At 9:37:13, the agents fired the first shot while in front of the vehicle with a cell phone in his left hand and a gun in the right. Then the vehicle moves forward. He shoots a second time. The third shot was on the outside of the driver's side. At 9:37:55, the pilot crashes into a parked car on Portland Avenue. Good's partner running toward the vehicle, as well as the officer who shot Good. Almost there. The agents called 911 at 9:42:03. A physician was nearby, and agents did not let them assist because they already called the local authorities. At 9:43:14, the EMT's technician or firefighters arrived on the scene 6 minutes after the incident to help Good. At 9:45:30, they tried CPR and put Good in an ambulance. At 10:26, Minneapolis put out a warning tweet on X to the citizens. Be careful. Be careful out there. At 10:46, Governor Tim Walz was looking into the situation, and time went down to 12:28, and Trump says on social media that this is self-defense. So here we are. This is a different version of a new version. I was gonna do something, but I don't want to rip the guy off. But shout out to the hater if you're into wrestling reviews. But this right here, we're gonna get into my take, my first take. You know, I guess you could say a take on each situation and a take on it, everything in general. So when you look at the Keith Porter situation, I mean, first of all, they should have called the police, and you know, it would have just warranted a citation or like however much time in jail or whatever, compensate the gun or whatever. But you know, California law does not say go approach someone shooting in the air and, you know, start shooting them. And second of all, the guy was off duty. He was off duty, so it's like it's not his duty to go approach this guy, you know. And then he claimed that it was an active shooter situation when, you know, when people are shooting in the air, even though it is dangerous, it's very dangerous, but can you compare that to somebody going into, you know, a public place and opening fire? So, you know, him claiming that it's self-defense, If you really wanted to do this in a lawful way, then the best way to do it would have been to call the authorities and let them handle it in a way that they would have handled any other situation where people are shooting in the air on New Year's and 4th of July or whatever else. You know what I'm saying? So the second thing is the Renega situation. I think first of all, those people shouldn't have been harassing those officers. I think them harassing the officers was a little off field. But I know like ICE been doing a lot of stuff, and they're fed up. It's like they shouldn't have been. They're protesting and they're protesting around them like they're not letting them leave. And so the fact that they were doing that, I think, that was wrong. You want to get them out. Get them out. And you see that they stopped good. Who came by, right? They stopped good for some reason. And, then all the shit went to hell. Now, the thing about it is, I don't know exactly why they stopped good. It wasn't specified, but I mean, that was a very short time. Just from the time that before her vehicle pulled up to like she got shot. So I mean, that's just pretty unfortunate, and it didn't have to go down like that, because it's the fact of the matter is, I got questions like, were they trying to arrest her? Were they trying to question her, get her paperwork? Like, what were they actually trying to do? So I mean, that's like, it's more questions than an opinion, but I think that they didn't have to do it like that, and there were a lot of rules broken as far as the cop going in front of the vehicle, or not a cop, but the officer going in front of the vehicle and opening fire when the person don't even have a weapon. It's like he went all the way from 0 to 100, like just like that. So it's like, you know, he shouldn't, that wasn't called for. In my opinion on this, I know like a lot of people was and is in an uproar, and it's like, but black people been going through this like for a long time. We've been going through this, what they say, for 400 years. But more than that, as long as this element of America has been around. So, and that's just the truth that we've been dealing with that. And the fact of the matter is, like, if they want, people, the American citizens, and even like people around the world want, to see ICE out of the contiguous area of the United States, in the belly of the contentious areas of the United States, then and work the borders and just let like more local immigration authorities deal with the immigrants here in this country, then that would solve problems. Yeah, that would solve some problems that the media, I think, is pumping up to make y'all believe that, this is a problem. So they're gonna highlight other things, just like they're gonna highlight some of the black on black violence. They're gonna highlight some things that some artist or some entertainer or whoever did wrong because it's the agenda. But I know that's a little bit further, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes to the situation, is not going to stop. Even if you do that, it's not going to stop corruption. Corruption is still going to be here. Things are still going to be done the way they always been done behind the scenes. So, people are looking at, they need to go. They're the problem. Trump is a problem. This, that, and the third. But even if you take Trump and ICE out of here at the same time, it's not going to stop the things that happen behind the scenes. So, with that being said, we're going to go with the jackass of the day. So, considering that Trump is backing up ICE every single time, and every time like the Republicans and the MAGA people, and including the authorities, especially the ICE. They always claim and say that it's self-defense. These murders are self-defense, and by the fact that the president is backing them up and saying, "Oh, well, they should have complied. Oh, well, this is a rowdy woman," and whatever else he's saying, then he, as Mr. POTUS, is the jackass of the day. So that's it for today. Your boy WADI is up out of here, aka Two Buck Chuck, when I'm talking and I'm walking up out of here, and that's a chuck to the chin. Holla.